Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Lolly, as you can see up here. 5 years ago in June, I started selling on Bonanza. It was a switch I made from Etsy. I'm going to give you a playlist of videos underneath this video, and it will have all the history and deets about switching from Etsy and why I did. I do have my digital images on Etsy for sale and none on Bonanza. So here we go, strap in. It's somewhat long and detailed. So also about 2 years ago, I did a video giving you an update on how things were going with my selling on Bonanza because I figured you needed to know what was going on and how it was coming along. And the answer is not well. So it was a pretty bleak video I did, and again, that will be linked underneath this video as well. And I have some additions to that. I really do advise you to go see that video on what it was like for me on Bonanza 2 years ago, because some of the problems continue to persist, some have gotten worse, and some new issues have developed. So the first thing you need to know about Bonanza is when you sell on Bonanza, it's like selling on Etsy in that you have, well, Bonanza calls it a booth. So on Etsy, when you sell, you will have the URL, we'll say etsy.com/ and it will have your booth name or your seller name. And it's the same thing on Bonanza. And so this is called your booth. And so it would say, here, I'm going to give you a picture of my link right here. It's bonanza.com/ whatever. And then it says booth or like that. So when you open up Bonanza, when you open that link, you will see the Bonanza header at the top of your screen and then my booth. And it's not as professional of a look as option number 2, which is a web store. Now, a web store, you just get your own URL. Mine was www.lollipaloozacrafts.com. That's all. Didn't say Bonanza, didn't say booth. It was more streamlined and professional looking. The difference in cost. The fancy web store is $25 a month, but you don't pay any seller fees. So if you sell a lot, you're really doing well having the web store because you're not paying seller fees. You're just paying the $25 a month. But if you don't do that and you just pay per sale, it's better. Let's see, I think I came up with $227. If you sell $227 in a month, you break even having the booth versus the web store. But if you sell more than $227, you're better off doing the booth. No, the web store. I'll get that. Okay, now seller fees have changed. When I started, the breakdown, when you sell on Bonanza, each sale incurs a 25-cent transaction fee. Now, there's no listing fees on Bonanza like there are on Etsy. So I'll try to just stick to Bonanza and not keep comparing to Etsy. But so far, you get a 25-cent transaction fee per sale, but the seller fees are added onto that. When I started 5 years ago, the seller fee was 3.5%. That was wonderful. But if you used their ads, Bonanza ads, to draw people or customers to your booth, and those ads brought you the business or the sale, you would have an additional 5.5% for a total of 9%. Okay, that's the total. But that never would have happened for me because I didn't use their ads. And I don't know what the fee structure is for ads, but I do know that that seller fee is now 11%. It went from 3.5 to 11 just May 1st of this year. That is a significant increase. Now that 11%, they call it the final value, something like that, the final value, which means the value of what you sold. Let's say you sold $50 in merchandise, but they also charge you the fee on any shipping over $10. And there's a reason for that, and other companies do the same thing. That's to prevent me from saying, I'm going to sell a $50 item for $20 to really get business, but I'm going to charge $20 shipping. It's outrageous shipping. And we're trying to do that to avoid seller fees. That's not cool. So what Bonanza does is the first $10 of shipping, they don't charge seller fees on, but anything above 10, they charge. So if I sold a $50 item and it had $12 shipping, I'm paying for seller fees on the extra $2 of my shipping that was above the 10. I hope that makes sense. So the final value that I would pay that 11% on would be $52, not just 50. That's important to keep in mind. If you are shipping heavy items and all of your shipping is going to be priority because of its weight, you're going to be paying seller fees on the shipping. Okay, so that is new. The other new fee that they have, and now what Bonanza is doing, it's kind of like a storage fee almost. When you have more than 50 items listed for sale in your shop, anything above that 50 will be charged 3 cents a month. So if you have 100 items for sale, that's 50 items above 50, right? So you get 50 of those items gets charged 3 cents a month. And the maximum you would be charged is $20. So you could be facing $20 a month fee for having so many listings. So I have removed a lot of listings, trying to tone it down. Okay, so now what has continued and gotten worse? I mentioned the credit card issue, and that is my credit card on file for any fees that I have with them I don't mess with it. I put the credit card in there and I leave it alone. It's not that it's expiring. My credit card is not expired. Just all of a sudden it deactivates on their website. There are some poltergeists over at Bonanza's website who are flipping settings. I don't know how this is happening, but I think 3 times now my credit card just goes poof and it's no longer active, and I don't even know it. It's not like I got an email. I all of a sudden my credit card's not active anymore. So I have to re-enter all the data and turn it back on in order to get my web store back up. So that happened again, and the big thing was on June 20th, I'm looking at my notes, June 20th, I looked at my web store because I had to get a link. Under each of my videos, I give you a product link, supplies, and I will give you the direct link to that item in my store. I pulled up my store and it said site not found. Well, that's not good. I mean, that makes me upset. So I don't know how to navigate their settings. The only thing I do in settings, this is a parentheses here, I don't go to their settings in Bonanza because it's really hard to navigate. The only thing I do is click one thing to go and turn my shop on vacation mode, click that, and then I go on vacation. When I come back, I click the one thing, turn vacation mode off, and I'm good. That's the only thing I know how to do in settings. So when I have to fix my credit card, for instance, I have to Google it every time. So that's just to say I don't mess with my settings. Okay, so June 20th, I went in and I figured my web store is not working. I'll bet you the credit card is absent again. I went in, sure enough, the credit card was gone. So I re-entered the information, got my credit card up, clicked it to charge all of these monthly fees to. And I thought, well, maybe it's going to take a day for my web store to just pop back up. And I waited and I kept refreshing and going through and making sure my credit card was working and it's still there active. I wasn't getting any help. So on June 20th, I actually went in and I emailed customer support for Bonanza sellers. Now, this is important, and I mentioned it last time. And that's that it takes maybe 4 days, 3 to 4 days to get a response from anyone at customer support. So I waited. I didn't hear anything back. I didn't even get an automated response. So I emailed again, nothing. I emailed a third time, and this time in the subject line, I put urgent. Web store is closed. And so I emailed them and said, look, my web store is closed for no reason, so please help out. it took 3 or 4 days for them to respond. And the response was, our records show, well, I have a quote actually here. This is a quote, our back end shows account user closed the web store on June 20th. You can reactivate the web store here, unquote. And it had a link. Okay, first of all, there is no way I deactivated my web store. I did not. I don't know. Like I said, I don't go into my settings ever. I go except for vacation mode. That's it. I don't know how to get to opening and shutting my web store. I have to search every time I want to do something. So I responded immediately that I in no way did I ever close my web store. So when they say user did this, no, user did not. Those little poltergeists over on your end are turning things off and on again. So they've got glitches where things just turn off and disappear. And so anyway, it was turned off. So I emailed her back and said, I did not do this. And the link you gave me, when I click that to turn my web store back on, it says your domain has expired. You need to contact us. Well, so that's what I'm doing. I'm replying to your email. At least I had a person this time. So, I have her name, and I said, no, I need help because I need this back up, and I need it up ASAP. For my viewers, like I said, I put a supply list under each of my videos. So for 5 years, all of those links are now broken because they go to my web store. They're all broken now. So it means every product you click on, you're not going to be able to find it. Okay, so that's when I emailed her back, and I didn't get a response. But the next day, I got an automated response generated from them saying, thank you so much for reaching customer support. We have now closed your support ticket. If you still feel like you need some help, reply to this email. And I replied to the email immediately, said, do not close this support ticket. I need help. I'm not getting help. It's now been 4 days since I replied to the customer service manager, is what her title is, and said, no, this isn't working. Domain's broken. By the way, the domain is not on me. I got that through Bonanza. And I do know that they have changed their domain hosting since then. And I find it also highly suspicious when I look through my records, the day that they say the user closed her web store was the 5-year anniversary of the day I opened that web store. So there's something in their system that kicked me out 5 years on my anniversary. I can't keep doing this, and this is way too frustrating to trust them that they are going to care, that they're going to respond, that they're going to help. When it's been since June 20th, it took 3 emails just to get anyone to respond. June 20th to July 4th, so it's 2 weeks now. I've been trying to get my web store back up. 2 weeks, I've lost all these sales because no one knows how to get to my Bonanza booth where all the same products are. So I put a blog post out. I put a post in my Facebook group. I put a post on YouTube sending people over there. But now, like I said, 5 years of links all broken. That's too many videos to go through and me to find the links for all of those products. So I have been looking into Shopify. I probably will transfer over there and just start moving product over little at a time. In the meantime, I'm giving you the link to my booth under this video, and under all future videos, my links will be correct, but retroactively, they won't be correct because they'll go to my web store. So I apologize for the difficulty, but I also wanted to let you know, for those of you who are trying to figure out whether you want to sell on Bonanza, yeah, I have 3 videos so far about Bonanza. One was when I was investigating it. One was about how to put products up, to list products for sale. And one was the 3 years, how it was going, and it wasn't going well. And then now we have this one. And this is just, the writing is on the wall. And I am seeing, I can't deal with this. Yes, Etsy is outrageously expensive, but I never had all these troubles with Etsy, ever. And I do know it's hard to get a hold of customer support at Etsy as well. I recognize that. But when I started with Bonanza 5 years ago, it was easier to get help on Bonanza's customer support than it is now. It's like I'm yelling into the void. And if you know what that feels like, it's frustrating. I mean, I'm listed as a star seller on their platform, but I can just say, in my opinion, the support I've gotten, that's not star level support at all. It's discouraging. This is, in my opinion, there are better ways of treating your sellers. And this is kind of background here. I have mentioned before that anytime I've had a problem, my customers have had a problem ordering from me or getting my digital downloads, and I have reached out to customer support, the answer has always been, it's the customer's fault. It's always been my buyer's fault. It's their computer. They need to change browsers. They need to change computers. They need to change devices. And just a heads up, it's taken me years, but I finally figured out that buying on Bonanza doesn't work well if you're using your phone. Get on a computer. It works a lot better. And I don't know if they have an app. That's a good question. I'll look it up and I'll put the answer on the screen up here. That would make it easier. But so it can't be that all these customers have bad browsers. Come on, quit blaming the customer. Or that all my customers can't get the digital downloads to work. Come on. It can't always be the customer's fault. I could see it being now and then. And when someone buys a download, usually what happens is, I think many of them never actually download it, you know. And at least 50% of the time I would get an email saying this won't even download it. I get an error message and I would email customer support and they would say, oh, it works on our end. Every time I say there's a problem, it works on our end. Well, you need to investigate why so many customers are having issues. You know, and my customers email me that they're stuck and it won't let them check out. I have no control over it because it's a Bonanza website. It's not my website. So there's that. So things should go better. So for a while, I will have two accounts. I will have the Bonanza, I will have the Bonanza booth, and I will have the Shopify. If the clouds part and the angels start singing the Hallelujah chorus and golden rays of sunshine start pouring down on my web store and they get it back open again, then at least I will have legitimate links for all my previous videos. But I'm still planning on moving to Shopify. It's just that it would sure help me to have that web booth up during this process. And I have not told them that I was planning on switching to Shopify. I have not told them anything. I just kept saying, please help me. And it's not happening. So 2 weeks is a long time to be down if you're a seller on Etsy or Shopify or Bonanza or anywhere. You need your booth up and running. So that's it, folks. Sorry to be so gloom and doom about this, but I want you to know, those of you who are considering whether to sell on Bonanza, these are some real world problems. When I started selling on Bonanza, the only thing I heard was it was okay, but you have to generate your own sales. I was fine with that. I don't need it to rank really high in SEO and people find me through a Google search just looking for an item and they find me. I'm okay because I bring my customers to my own website. And I was fine with that. Oh, another thing that happened, one more thing that happened was all of a sudden none of my products had images again. Again, I had not changed any settings because I don't even know how to do something like that. But there were no product images, just a little gray box, you know, for everything in my store. And my customers were saying, are you aware that your pictures are all gone? I emailed Bonanza customer support, not a word. There were crickets chirping in the background. And just one day, it just all of a sudden, it was working again. So I don't know if that was a known issue. Anyway, I look forward to having something that looks a little more legitimate than what I'm using now, because oh my goodness. Thank you for watching, and I hope I was able to help you somewhat. And I hope that eventually I do get a response, because I would like to know that they care enough to eventually get back to me, even though 4 days wasn't enough after, well, 2 weeks total, but 4 days wasn't enough after my last response. So again, thank you for watching. Look underneath this video. I'm going to give you all my Bonanza videos and the ones that I talk about Etsy as well. And keep in mind that the Etsy one, the prices have gone up. Seller fees have gone up twice since I did my Etsy video. So hang in there. I'm hanging in there. You have a great and glorious day.